5 former LSU standouts. This is a great troll job by LSU football. If you kind of look in depth on the names here, Tommy Hodson, Eddie Fuller, Troy Twillie, Demetrius, Byrd, and Cole Tracy have all had game winners against Auburn in their times against LSU. They've all had memorable moments and victories against Auburn. They'll serve as the guest captains on Saturday when second-ranked LSU hosts 9th-ranked Auburn in Tiger Stadium. Kickoff is set for 2:30 on CBS. Ed Orgeron, who's the head coach for the Tigers, guided them to a 7-0 start and number 2 in the national rankings, has been named to the 2019 American Heart Association Bryant Award watch list. That was announced on Monday. Orgeron is one of 22 coaches from across the country named to the watch list. That'll be narrowed to a group of finalists, 3 finalists, in December.
Love it.
Here is Coach O talking about freshman quarterback Bo Nix for Auburn.
Sure. How's he going to play on the road? How's he going to handle the crowd noise? All those things, but we got to expect his best. We have a plan for him. We have a plan to rush him. We have a plan to rush 4. It all depends what Dave wants to do, but we have a plan to do anything we need to do.
Yeah, and it's pretty wild, Jordy, when you look at just how this year has gone, and I think it's relevant given you talk about the watch list there. If LSU wins tomorrow, that's 3 top 10 wins on the – wait, is Auburn's top – that's 3 top 10 wins on the year, 8 since 2016. I feel like a win Saturday would put him firmly in the driver's seat for that award.
Dan Bournay announces that it never rains. Sneaky Dan Bournay announces that it never rains in Tiger Stadium. Might be a little wet tomorrow. Coach Orgeron was talking about how they're prepared for it.
Dan Bournay's there.
Yeah, we've done some wet ball. We're ready for it. I do believe that we're prepared for anything.
It's the wind. I've been saying it all week. It's not the moisture. It's the wind. If there's no wind, you're all good. Unless
2:30 start. 9:30 pregame. Eagle 98.1 for you tomorrow morning. Alvin Kamara returned to practice on a limited basis Thursday after missing last week's game with an ankle and knee injury. Drew Brees remained limited in practice. Eli Apple was upgraded to full participation. They'll take on the Cardinals Sunday at noon. Cliff Kingsbury, head coach for the Cardinals, was talking about this Saints defense.
Oh, coach, very sound. They don't give you anything for free. I mean, everything's earned. Some really exotic looks when you get to third down, but they are one of the most sound teams defensively right now in the league and have some very talented players as well that obviously helps.
If you're watching online, Jordy is stripping down due to the sexy baritone drawl.
I wish Cliff could talk to me all day long.
Kingsbury.
Give me more of Kingsbury talking about Brees and Kamara.
They're 2 of the greats in the game. One all-time great, and Kamara is as good as I've seen at that position, when you talk about all-around backs. And so, yeah, you prepare if they're both going to play, and the guys that they've been playing for them have been playing at an incredible level as well. And so it's not like there's a significant drop-off, but those 2 are as talented as there are.
Yeah, so you have to prepare for Brees. You have to prepare for Kamara, but you know who you really have to prepare for? The guy we talked about all week, Mike Thomas. Doesn't matter if Brees is back there, Bridgewater's back there. Mike Thomas has proven that he's going to get his. I mean, that's the wildest part is like when you're game planning for the Saints, especially last week, that was the only guy you had to worry about stopping. Like that was the only one you had to put special attention for, and yet he's still getting his numbers.
Drew Brees is planning to play, according to reports earlier this week. We'll wait and see. Noon start for New Orleans versus Arizona in the Dome coming up on Eagle 98.1 Sunday. Remember, Reggie Bush and Marcus Colston will be honored at halftime as their names will go up in the Ring of Honor. Thursday night NFL, Dalvin Cook had 171 total yards in the game's only touchdown, helping Kirk Cousins beat his only team on the first try and carrying the Vikings to a 19-9 victory over the Washington Redskins on Thursday night. Danielle Hunter had 5 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Former LSU wideout, SMU wideout. Speaking of SMU, still undefeated last night after the win on Houston, and maybe the cleanest uniforms in college football. Trey Quinn had a catch for 15 yards, and Baton Rouge native or former Dutchtown standout New Orleans native Landon Collins had 11 tackles.
Well, for a second I thought Trey Quinn was back in college because you like the SMU and the stories rolled together. Whatever it's worth, fun fact from Cole Kubik last night, with SMU scoring 34 and not scoring 35, LSU and Alabama are now the only teams in the nation that have scored 35 at least 35 each game.
Nuggets like that coming up from Cole at 8:30 this morning here on Off the Bench. The New Orleans Pelicans have a busy weekend. They take on the Mavericks tonight inside the Smoothie King Center. They'll head to Houston tomorrow and take on the Rockets. Plus Monday they'll be back to take on the Golden State Warriors inside of the Smoothie King Center at 7 p.m. Did you see the Warriors last night? They gave up 141 in their home opener last night as they were demolished by Kawhi and the Clippers. And then TNT later had Klay Thompson on set, and Charles Barkley was going back with Thompson. You want to come here to the surface? Here's what Barkley told Thompson real time last night.
My other prediction, and I was wrong before the game. I said they were going to be the 7-8 seed. They're not going to make the playoffs because they just can't score enough. You know, you look
so
at.
You could tell after one half of basketball.
Playing with the best defensive team, the Clippers.
No, but not just that, Candace. You know, when you look at your team, you say, okay, Steph can get me 30. D'Angelo can get me 20. But Draymond, even though he's a heck of a player, he only going to get me 15. That's not enough in the Western Conference this year. Would you?
I love it, dude. Work out, Sir Charles. Not only like not caring to the point that Klay Thompson is literally sitting at the table with him. And like, hey, dog, y'all ain't making the playoffs, just in case you were wondering. And it's because you ain't out there, basically. But I love that he formed all of these opinions off of a half of basketball. That is why sports talk is so great.
Game 3 of the World Series tonight for the first time since 1933. Washington, D.C. will host a World Series game as the Nationals take on the Astros. The Nats are up 2-0. Sticking around for weekend predictions. We're going to talk to Hunt Palmer coming up in this 7 o'clock hour. We'll also talk to Eric Gilbert, the 5-star tight end out of Marietta, Georgia, who pledged to the Tigers earlier this week.